Matt LaFleur tried to answer for the debacle at the end of the Cowboys game, but we're left with more questions.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers, the number one Packers podcast on the internet. And the show for fans who know what happened, they want to know why and how. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. We heard from Matt LaFleur about what went wrong at the end of the game. And I tried to go back and look at it for myself. And there's a lot of things that just don't add up here. But let's rewind a little bit. Because the 4th and 2 decision in plus territory is one of those where you just can't play that so conservatively. And it is emblematic of a shift toward a more conservative approach from Matt LaFleur. We've talked about that ad nauseum. I don't want to rehash it, but because LaFleur addressed it, he said there was no thought to go for it there, despite the fact that some of the guys, that was his phrasing, some of the guys wanted to go. I don't know if that means players, coaches. I don't know if he has a game coordinator giving him information. He used to. I don't know if he still does. We don't quite know what the mechanism there. I wish someone would ask about it. But what he said was confirming all of my fears about the cowardly impulses of that decision is that, okay, if they don't get it, then you're almost in range for Brandon Aubrey. I just cannot. I just cannot. To make a decision there against the worst defense in the NFL, one of the worst passing defenses we've ever seen, and you are worried about the f***ing kicker. Come on. That sort of stuff. Like, it's one thing to be afraid of Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett and that defensive front did wreck the game. Matt LaFleur was right, at the very least, to be concerned about how the Packers were going to block the Cleveland Browns. It is one thing to be afraid of Myles Garrett. It is quite another to be afraid of the godforsaken kicker. That is unconscionably cowardly. And I'm not saying Matt LaFleur is a coward, but that is a cowardly decision. It is making decisions from a place of fear, which is just never a good place from which decisions are made. You cannot do that. Okay, now, the end of the game, I thought Matt LaFleur made a good distinction between no huddle and hurry up. If you take the entire series in a vacuum, we talked about this yesterday, and just say, okay, they moved the ball down the field, no problem. I really didn't have a problem with the way the drive was handled, mostly from a play calling standpoint. In fact, a couple of the runs that they called even worked. But what Matt LaFleur said was, after Romeo Doubs caught the slant, there's 1:10 left. He believed that from there, they should have gone into 2-minute, which is different. Now you're moving at a different speed. He said that should have been at warp speed. The problem with that explanation, Matt LaFleur, is that the next play was a run. So you can't sit here and tell me that what you wanted was the team to go faster, and it was therefore the player's mistake not to go faster, which, by the way, Matt LaFleur is in the headset, able to tell Jordan Love, go, 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 go. And by the way, Jordan Love should know, go, 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 but he's taking cues from the coach. That's the coach's job. It's not Jordan Love's job. Okay. But the run works. And they snap the ball with under 55, or with, about 55 seconds left after the run. Fine. Or, with the run. That sets them up in good position. They're at the 12-yard line. They call an RPO. What are you doing? What are you doing? That doesn't make any sense. You should have, with 35 seconds left from the 12-yard line, 4 chances, if you want them, to throw the ball into the end zone. But the call, after you have scored 24 straight points in the second half, you score on all of your possessions in the second half. Touchdown, 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 field goal. It's a horizontal throw. Now, if Romeo Doubs blocks it up, great. They called that same RPO 5 times already on the drive. No wonder Trayvon Diggs is sitting on it. So that's a bad play call. And then right after, you're going to run the special off where you're trying to pump it and go. Now, Matt LaFleur, I think rightly says, in that situation, I would have wanted the quarterback, if it's not there right away, just sail the ball out of the end zone. And then what do you have? With a timeout in your back pocket, you now have 30-ish seconds to take 2 more shots into the end zone. They check the ball down and they have to burn the timeout. Or no, then they had to get up on the ball because they had to burn the timeout on the golden play. So Jordan Love's got to know in that situation, don't check the ball down. If the special that we call is not there, throw it out of the end zone. No swing passes, especially like you want to check the ball down to Tucker Kraft in the middle of the field, an option he had late. You can do that. You could have gotten up, thrown the ball to Tucker Kraft, gotten up and spiked the ball and had 1 more shot into the end zone on 4th down if you wanted to take that. Or you get up and now you're at the 5 and you can throw a fade ball, something into the end zone. So that I'm going to split responsibilities. It's those 2 play calls that I don't understand. It can't be some special, it's a single option call. You just can't do that. It has to be something where you're letting Jordan Love read it out or then make a second reaction play. It can't be a one, because he was asked, could he have gone back to Matthew Golden in the flat? And Matt LaFleur said, no, that's not the play. And so, okay, then it's a bad play. So none of it makes sense to me. Matt LaFleur's explanation doesn't make sense to me. Jordan Love's decision-making doesn't make sense to me, but this, to me, is squarely on the shoulders of the coach. The coach's responsibility is to get the team playing with the right tempo. Now, I will say, on the last play, there is no sense of urgency from the players. No sense of urgency. And Matt LaFleur admitted, yes, they have like a hand signal to get up. And Jordan Love is trying to, he's giving some sort of hand signal to everybody. You watch Tucker Kraft go line up. Tucker Kraft is supposed to be one of the stars of this team. He's originally lining up offside. He's 2 yards in front of the ball and has to back up before they can snap the ball. That's one of the reasons why they weren't able to get more of that playoff, because no one's lining up. There's no urgency at all. If you want to chalk that up to being a young team, fine. But the opportunity is now. The window is now to go win a Super Bowl. The young mistakes time, that stuff is over, guys. That stuff is over. This is a young team, but it is a young team that has been in big games, that has been in playoff games, that walked down a top 3 defense last year. Just sauntered right down the field on the Houston Texans to get in position with less than a minute to kick the game-winning field goal. They had no problem playing with urgency on that drive. So what you hope is it's a handful of brain farts to go along with a handful of miraculous plays from Dak Prescott, and the game, luckily for you, ends in a tie instead of an L. But it is a disconcerting place for this team to be that they were so disorganized at the end of that game. They panicked. But you'd hope that panic in that moment with under a minute left would lead to urgency, and it didn't. And to me, that is on the coach. It's also, for as well as Jordan Love has played, and I wrote today for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to, about how Jordan Love has to be the reason Matt LaFleur becomes more aggressive in these moments. But Jordan Love has to be in control. Brian Gutekunst said, we want Jordan Love to be in control. I thought he was in control for 65 minutes of that game. Really 69 minutes, right? Nice, but 69 minutes because you play 60 plus the 10. And then that last minute was just not well controlled at all. And Dan Orlovsky, after the interception against the Browns, said he wants Jordan Love to grow up. This is an opportunity for Jordan Love to grow up, but Matt LaFleur has to do it with him. All right, Lily Zhao is with us next on Locked On Packers. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Nappa leather upholstery. All-wheel drive is standard on every Mazda crossover SUV. You can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like the Packers, well, we'd like them to sweat the details a little bit more. Mazda sweats the details. They would have had the right call late in the game because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Today's episode also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. The NFL season now in full swing, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet. Put down $5. $5. $5, that's less than a latte. And if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love FanDuel because it has so many different ways to play. Whatever move I'm in, I built parlays, tried player props, even followed the live lines during the game. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app and get started. Well, we're not talking about a loss, but we're not talking about a win either somehow. Joining me now from Fox 6 in Milwaukee to answer a question on this show that we never have before. Lily Zhao, after a tie, how you doing?
Peter, I'm not sure how to feel, and we're a couple days removed from this still, but it just feels incomplete. That's the best way I can put it. I'm feeling incomplete in terms of what I saw on Sunday night, but outside of the game, I am doing fantastic as we round into October. So outside of that, I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm good. I guess technically, I was the host of Locked On Packers in 2018, the last time the Packers tied a game. I have no recollection of that season at all. No, I try to not think about that season whenever possible. So this was a weird thing, right? The offense cannot get going in week 3. The defense cannot get going in week 4. About which of those units after the last 2 weeks are you more concerned going forward?
I'm concerned with the direction the defense is going, because we know the offense. You don't have 3 offensive linemen, 2 starters, 1 backup who's played, significant snaps early on in the season. You don't have 2 of your top wide receivers. Josh Jacobs is a little bit banged up there late in the game, but, they still found a way to get going and answer every Cowboys drive. But the defense, what happened? Yeah. They couldn't get pressure on Dak Prescott when it mattered. 4-man rush wasn't working. It was just not what we have seen to start the year. So I'm just wondering what happened from weeks 1 and 2 that led you to give up 40 points to the Cowboys. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah. I said this on the show yesterday. I think Dak having an out-of-body experience for half of this game was a big contributing factor. Like, it's not like they didn't pressure him. He just made throw after throw after throw after throw against pressure. And if anyone knows what it's like to have a quarterback just be at that next level where it kind of doesn't matter what the defense is doing, it should be Packer fans, right? Because we've seen Brett Favre play at that level. We've seen Aaron Rodgers play at that level. So like, this can happen. We just didn't think it'd be Dak Prescott playing it. Sam Darnold played at that level last year, Lily. We like, this can happen, but I don't know what the answer is. This is, and that's kind of troubling, right? For a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, where they've had a game now where the offense can't get going, the defense can't get going. It is just a month into the season. What do you think could change post-bye that would make you feel like, okay, I feel much better about this team moving forward?
Well, first of all, going out there and beating the Bengals like they need to in a wide margin to say, okay, finally we've arrived. Both sides of the ball are playing like they should in a game. And we saw that in weeks 1 and 2. We've seen how good this team can be when they put things together. But I would say eliminate those pre-snap penalties. It's been killing them offensively. And I just want to see them generate some takeaways. That was really the key last year for this defense, but it really hasn't come to fruition yet this year. But, outside of what we want to see on the field, I think it's just get guys healthy. I think when you get your starting 5 back on the offensive line, that's going to do wonders. I would say just get guys healthy, but kind of do the little things that, they've kind of been missing in these last 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's tough, right? Like you don't want to use the injuries as an excuse because every team is dealing with injuries, but it's hard not to watch the first half or really just the first half and go, this offensive line, like they really need their guys back because third string right tackle, it's hard to live in that world. I think the combination of Zach Tom being back, Aaron Banks being back, or at least letting Jordan Morgan play his more natural position, I think that solves a lot of issues. But what you can have is Elton Jenkins not play great, Sean Ryan not play great, and Rasheed Walker not play great. This was supposed to be a strength of the team. Like if we just said, okay, are you more worried about the coverage for the Packers, which did not seem great on Sunday, or the offensive line? Let's just put it there for the Packers. I think I would say offensive line. Like I am more worried about this line because even healthy, like Rasheed Walker didn't play great, Sean Ryan didn't play great. This has to be the strength of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, we've seen what they can do. That week 1 win over the Lions, they were giving Jordan Love ages to throw. And that's what I think we all expected out of the starting 5. Yes, now 2 of them are banged up. But, Elton Jenkins even said the week before, in his game against the Browns, I played terribly in, more provocative.
That's the word he used, but yeah.
That's right. Yeah, but he's like, I did not play well. And when you looked at it, just seems like every time they were getting, some momentum, getting, further down the field, someone had a pre-snap penalty. And I think every offensive lineman had one outside of Rasheed Walker. And you got to just make sure that you're not doing those things to set your team back. But yeah, I do think that they have kind of been, this, not setting up back the offense, but they have not looked as good as they need to. And that is concerning.
Am I on a delay for you?
No, but you just paused there. So I was like, uh-oh, did my audio cut out?
It didn't cut out, but you were delayed. Now you seem to be back.
Oh, that's weird.
You're still like slightly off, but
yeah, you're right on with me. That's weird.
Okay. I think we're good now. So let's just try and push forward here.
Okay. Weird.
I advocated earlier this week, Lily, to Jordan Morgan played left tackle in the preseason to shake things up a little bit. Coming out of the bye, give Jordan Morgan a chance to at least rotate with Rasheed Walker. Let's just see if a little bit we've seen this team shake things up. 2022, big time shakeups. 2021, big time shakeups in the offensive line. We've seen them do this. Do you think some sort of shakeup is necessary here?
That's tough. I think it depends on the health. I think if Zach Tom and Aaron Banks are still out, you kind of got to do what you got to do and put Jordan Morgan at left guard. But if those guys come back and they are healthy, why not? Again, this was a battle in training camp and one that Rasheed Walker won. But again, there was the narrative of let's rotate that left tackle position. So I would say if the line gets healthier, I don't see why they couldn't keep shaking things up. But the way they're going now, it's just hold fast and protect Jordan Love. That's all they got to do for now.
Yeah, just try and keep your head, above water at this point. What's interesting is, Lily, is when they protect Jordan Love from a clean pocket, according to the Pro Football Focus charting, he's like number 1 in all the metrics you want. Like he is just playing outstanding football from when he has had time to throw. Give me your perspective on Jordan Love this season. What have you seen from him, and has he been different this year by your eyes compared to last year?
I think the health is one thing. Last year we can talk about that all we want, but I think having his health back, having his legs back has really elevated him as a quarterback. We saw him scramble for 24, 25 yards against the Cowboys. He's a great play, very elusive on the rollouts, the play action passes that he makes. I think he's really elevated his game this year. But, that being said, it's just a couple of those little things of the interception, against the Browns. And, just you got to hold the ball a little bit tighter. Can't be too loose with it because the Cowboys poked it out in your own, near your own end zone. And so just those little things he's got to clean up and just more of the time management in those crucial situations. But again, he will learn. But I do think he has made a step in terms of really knowing this offense to its core and then using his legs on top of that.
All right, we've got more with Lily Zhao coming up on Locked On Packers. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why we have Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one financial tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorizations of your spending, and feel in control of your money without ever having to touch a spreadsheet. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year with monarchmoney.com and code LOCKEDONNFL. What did you make of Matt LaFleur's explanation for the end of that Cowboys game? Hey, if we thought, what he said was basically, if I thought it was going to be a problem, we would have gone faster.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. I'm not sure what to make of it because, again, you have the ball with 4:40 left in overtime with a chance to win this thing. So, again, there's no way this team has.
That should be enough time.
Right. There's no way this team hasn't practiced an overtime scenario, right? So you have to realize in 30 seconds, when you have a chance to win from the 12-yard line, you got to make sure you optimize that time to its fullest.
You should have 3 chances in the end zone.
Yeah. So I'm not sure where the miscommunication was. I think, LaFleur was saying our communication has to be a lot better. It's got to be quicker. The operation has to be quicker and smoother. But again, why wasn't it when you knew this was the situation you were in?
Is this just reps? Like, I know Jordan Love has now played 2 seasons, but he hasn't had that many opportunities in a moment like this to go down and make these sorts of plays to keep everybody on track. This is a young team. I know that's not a great excuse, but like Matthew Golden has never been in this situation in the NFL. A lot of these, Jordan Morgan has never really been in this situation. Darian Kennard has never been in this situation. It just seemed like they looked unprepared in a way that to me reflects coaching more than players. But I just also know if that's Aaron Rodgers, he's getting everybody's ass moving because he knows we got to go.
Yeah, I think, again, it's so much more different doing a simulation of 30 seconds left in overtime versus an actual live game situation. Yeah. You don't know what's going to happen on the other end. Timeouts are varied, not the timeouts, but your time is varied in what part of the field you're in. So until they actually get in a situation like this and go through it, I think it's hard for those guys to really comprehend what that, real live game scenario will be like until they're kind of in the trenches. And they really got a dose of that against the Cowboys to say, listen, we can practice this all we want, but when we were in it, we didn't execute the way we needed to. So maybe this was a really big learning experience for them if they have to deal with this in the future. But I do think you're right there.
We talked about this after the Browns game, right? Like they went to Cleveland, heavy favorites against a tough defense at the very least. And they went to Dallas, the clear favorites, right? And they did not respond well in either one of those games. They responded much better when they opened as underdogs to the Lions, but like that was a different sort of game. They were favored against the Commanders, but that's an NFC playoff team. We got to bring our A game to this sort of game. And we've seen them now 2 weeks in a row not quite have the level of intensity, the level of detail, the level of focus that they need. Is this just like, hey, this team is going to look different in December? Like if you're a Packers fan, are you banking on that? Does someone need to step forward? Does something need to be shaken up here? I don't mean firing anybody. I don't mean benching anybody, but just from a leadership standpoint, does someone need to come up and say, we got to fix this?
I think so. The bye is the bye. You get it when you get it. But this is now week 5. You're banged up.
Perfect time for them.
It really is. I mean, I think they really needed it. And you're 2-1-1. In all honesty, they should be 4-0 going into the bye.
Yeah, they should.
So for them, I think this is a big turning point of saying, all right, listen, if we want to turn our season around and be a Super Bowl contender, we got to get things straightened. And listen, they play the Bengals at home, Jake Browning in at quarterback. That's a game that they win by 30 points. I mean, they got to come out of the gates and look like they belong. And I just don't think that they've handled the pressure of a team that wants to be in Super Bowl contention very well. Because when you are favored like that on the road and you come out and don't look prepared, or you come out and you're making mental mistakes and giving the game away, that's not a team that's going to be competing in February. So I think they have to take a hard look in the mirror this week and self-reflect and say, listen, if we don't turn things around with a very manageable schedule coming out of the bye week, I don't think it's going to be turned around in December. So I think this next month will be a really good gauge for them to see if they can get back to playing really, really good football.
Yeah, they should not lose in October, but they also should not have lost in September. So, like that's the NFL in some ways, but like you have to learn how to do this. This team is going to have to figure this all out. We have not uttered the name Rich Bisaccia on this show so far. What's the deal? Like what's going on?
I'm not sure. I mean, you look league wide and there's a bunch of block kicks. So I don't like what's in the water for everybody on special teams. I'm not sure what's going on. It's like, are they timing just their jumps better? I don't know. It's like, I don't know what's happening, but for the Packers to be victims of 2 blocked, field goal and an extra point in back-to-back weeks, you would have thought that this kicking operation would have learned from that blocked field goal of what to do and what not to do. And when you watch the replay, you're thinking, okay, well, that's where the mistake was, but why was that there to begin with? So I think that's very frustrating when you have one unit who's kind of, dampering the whole fun operation per se. And it's been like that for a couple of years, and that's discouraging. So I guess it's what the Packers do coming out of the bye with that, I think will say a lot. Also with Rich Bisaccia as well. Yeah,
my working theory is that there is no such thing as core special teamers anymore. Like there really aren't. Like there are very few and far between. Like I was on with my pal Grant Bills from the Bill Michaels show, and he was like, I said I can name the special teams players on the 1996 Packers, and I know that that's just like guys remembering dudes, like it's kind of a cliche, but we just don't have that anymore. I feel like the game is so tilted now towards speed and youth, and you don't that third tight end. He's got to be able to run. Like he's got to be able to contribute in your offense at some point. He can't be the old Matt Spaeth, like 6'7", 280-pound guys that are just out there to block. Those guys kind of don't exist anymore. So I just think the game has changed a lot. Like Luke Musgrave is not a field goal protector. And so that's tough. You don't practice these things. And that's the hard part of it all. Lily, this is the loudest I have heard the anti-LaFleur crowd, I think, since LaFleur has been the coach. Maybe since, what were they in 2023? Were they 3-6 or whatever they were at that one point in the season? I don't know that people were calling for his head at that point, but it seems loud to me. To me, that's crazy, but I kind of understand after these last 2 weeks, what the criticisms of it. What do you think if you were to say, hey, Matt, this is a thing I'd really love to see you work on or the team work on as an extension of you to make people believe? Because I don't think it can be as simple as, oh, they're going to be a Super Bowl team. Like maybe that is all that's going to satisfy those people. But if you were going to say, hey, I'm your PR person, I'm going to help you here, let's work on this. Is there something that you can point to?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think I understand the quote unquote turmoil, right? Because when Matt LaFleur first came to Green Bay, it was all gas, no brakes, going for it on 4th down, really taking the aggressive approach. And now it's kind of seemed like it's reeled back. And I had a feeling early on when it was 4th and 2 near midfield when they punted, I kind of had a feeling that this game was going to be what it was going to be and being a little bit more passive than aggressive. Mm-hmm. But for him, it's tough because, he runs his offense how he's going to run his offense. I don't think he's going to go online and say, oh, the fans want me to do this, so I'm going to start doing this. That's not how he's going to operate. It's his offense. But in that regard, I think he's got to have a team just be more mentally gritty. And I will always point out to the Eagles, because they are the reigning Super Bowl champs, but they get down in a pinch and they have the resolve to come back. They don't let it get to them. They know how to punch back. And I don't think we've seen this team do that this year. And maybe that is a reflection of your coach. Maybe you want to make it kind of fiery on the sideline and say, we're going to go for it, but have his team execute. So I don't know if he needs something more like that, but it is Matt LaFleur. That's how he's coached this year and in recent years. So I'm not sure how much he does change, but maybe he has to reflect on that this week as well.
Yeah, I would maybe start with Rich Bisaccia, but that's just me. We'll see. No game next week, Lily, but we'll still have you here to talk about getting ready for Packers Bengals. Again, a game that they are going to be heavily favored in. I haven't looked at the line lately, but my guess would be a touchdown or more favorites in that one. Show you deserve to be that. Let's see it. Lily, we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Peter.
All right. Thanks to Lily for joining the show. Always awesome to talk with our pal, Lily. We'll be back next week with more of that. Our squad show this week, same Lambeau time, 7:15 Wednesday night with Coach Jags, Brandon Snide, and me live on our YouTube page. That'll be in your podcast feed after that. Follow me on the socials, follow the podcast on the socials, subscribe to the podcast wherever you get podcasts, and be sure to subscribe on YouTube. 90 minutes of post-game coverage after every game. And of course, our live Locked On Packers, followed by our live squad show. That's all there so you can stay Locked On Packers.